Very quickly, James Hill, you vegan, veggie, any other fussy eating going on in your life?
Meat.
Yeah, it's banned in my house. I can't be doing with it. I've said to my daughter, you have to get yourself adopted if you're going to do any of this nonsense. I can't be doing with it. I'm the one who cooks the food in our country, the country of Julia Hartley-Brewer, in our home. Well, the people for the ethical treatment of animals, that's PETA, the animal rights charity, they put up an electronic billboard advert outside a fish and chip shop in the seaside town of Cleethorpes in Lancashire, of course, and it's an image that basically flashes between showing a fish or a dead cat. So basically, you're standing there and you're holding a tray with, a plate with your fish on, and then it flashes into a dead cat, as if, well, basically, eating a dead cat, your own pet cat, is pretty much the same as eating a fish, which it isn't, is it? Or is it? Well, let's talk to Dominika Piasecka, who is a vegan campaigner. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Dominika. I have to say, I mean, this advert, which I'm hoping we're showing at some point on our screen so people can actually see it, it's a hard-hitting campaign. Do you agree with it?
I broadly do. I think it highlights the inconsistency with which we treat animals. So on the one hand, we have cats and dogs we treat as pets. And on the other hand, we have cows, pigs, chicken and fish as well, who we see as food animals. But really what's important is that in their ability to feel pain, they are the same. And the only difference is the way in which we treat them. So just to point out to your listeners as well, I think if anyone spent a bit more time with those farmed animals, maybe by visiting an animal sanctuary, they would see them as individuals who have different characteristics, different personalities, and their own lives that they want to live free from suffering. So I understand.
I can understand that. They're sentient beings. I completely get it. I find it quite strange when someone, for other than health reasons, but just for moral reasons, they say, well, basically, I don't eat animals that are cute and cuddly that I can stroke and have got a face that I can recognise as a face, but I do eat, scaly things from the ocean because it doesn't really bother me about them. Of course, they would feel pain, of course, in the same, at least in some way akin to how we would feel pain. But that's not the issue, because when you're eating, the point at which I'm eating my cod and chips, the cod isn't feeling any pain. The question is whether or not it's right to kill them and the conditions they're kept in beforehand. Now, you're a vegan. You don't believe we should be killing animals at all. We shouldn't be keeping them in captivity. We shouldn't be harming them in any way. The vast majority of people do eat meat and do eat fish in this country. I would argue, we're omnivores. It's a key part of our diet, and we are. It is for our health. We should be eating a balanced diet, including meat and fish. But to compare fish to cats, I can understand. Morally, you can see, they're both sentient beings, etc., etc. But the reality is we do have different relationships with different animals, don't we? We don't have pet cows, but we don't have pet pigs largely, but we do have pet dogs. People get upset about, say, people in South Korea eating dogs, whereas we eat pigs.
Yeah.
I think, arguably, pigs are just as intelligent as dogs. We have just chosen to make dogs the animals that share our homes. But those are sort of societal differences rather than moral differences, aren't they?
Absolutely. I think you've summarised it really well, and I think that's really what we need to think about, because when you ask most people, do you want to cause suffering to an animal? Obviously, a normal person would say that they don't want to cause any unnecessary suffering. And now we don't need to eat meat, dairy and eggs to have a balanced diet. We can get all the nutrients that we need from a vegan diet. So really,
that's not true. You have to take supplements because it's not a healthy diet.
Sorry, no, veganism is something that can meet all your requirements in terms of nutrition. The Vegan Society and the British Dietetic Association have struck a memorandum of understanding, which shows that you can have all those nutrients regardless of what life stage you're at, whether you're a teenager, an elderly person, pregnant women, as long as it's a balanced diet. So on your point about fasting,
there are key nutrients in some meats and fish that you simply can't get anywhere else unless you're having.
You can get all the nutrients from a vegan diet: omega-3s, protein, calcium, iron. Everything can be found from a vegan diet. There's no need to sort of do any special calculation considerations. And the thing that people need to ask themselves is, it's obviously a bit more difficult to empathize with a fish, I suppose, because we can't interact with them in a way that we do.
I'm not going to. I mean, I love scuba
out.
diving, but I mean, I love interacting with fish. Going, isn't that a pretty fish when I'm scuba diving? But no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to sit watching the telly, stroking a fish on my lap, am I?
Yeah, no, that's understandable. But with the question we have to ask ourselves, in their ability to feel pain, are they the same as other animals? And there have been scientific studies where fish have been shown to feel pain.
No, but even if they feel pain, but again, we know that cows feel pain and sheep feel pain, but we still eat them. We do it because they taste nice, and we've chosen not to make them as our pets. I mean, look, the reality is that you feel pain, I feel pain. If we were trapped on a desert island and I was hungry enough, with all due respect, Dominika, I'd eat you.
No, I would probably do the same as well. But the
I thought you were a vegan.
Island, we have a choice, and we can come into a supermarket. We can choose vegan products, or we can choose animal products.
I vote animal products. I vote animal products every time. I just think it's really cruel to do that outside of fishmongers, claiming that cats and fish are the same. Goodness me. Dominika, thank you very much for joining us.